What's up, guys? It's me on. I'm back with another video, and I am back with my Super Bowl predictions. What a season it has been, and it all comes down to tonight: the Bengals and the Rams. Now, before we get into it, please make sure to drop a like on this video, subscribe to the channel. I am 30 subs away from 600, so I would really appreciate if we could get there. Also, make sure to use code ANJJ for free shipping on orders of $20 or more at Circle B Diecast, especially with NASCAR season coming back up, Daytona 500 next weekend. Race reactions will be coming back, so make sure to turn on post notifications so you don't miss out on future uploads. In terms of the race reactions, I do those whenever I'm able to see the races live. So if I can't see a part of a race or the entirety of a race due to work, if I can't see the race at all, then I won't be able to do a reaction to it. If I can't see part of it, then, well, we'll see what happens. Sometimes I will, sometimes I won't. But with all that said, please, again, make sure you have post notifications turned on so you don't miss out on future uploads. And let's go ahead and let's get into this Super Bowl matchup, because if you told me back in the preseason that the Bengals and the Rams would be in the Super Bowl, I would have probably picked the Rams to be here, although obviously I would have had the Bucs because Brady. But if you had the Bengals, I would have laughed in your face, because even the most diehard Bengals fan, even the most diehard Bengals fan probably did not have them getting this far. Maybe not even having them get to the playoffs at all things considered. Burrow coming off of his injury, which, looking back, really was not talked about all that much. The fact that Burrow was coming off an ACL tear, and I think the reason why was because of the fact of Dak Prescott coming off of his injury, not to mention the whole contract thing he had going on down in Dallas. So Burrow kind of just flew under the radar there. But that being said, you had that, and then you had the offensive line issues. And that was part of why Burrow got hurt last year. Now, granted, the injury happened at FedEx Field, which that turf is known for collecting injuries to various players. There's a whole map. I saw a picture of a map charted, or not map, but of the stadium football field charted with where different players suffered an injury on that field. Crazy and all. But you had that, and obviously if you go back to my draft reaction from the first round, if you go back to my preseason predictions, I was not happy with the Bengals because they should have drafted Sewell and they drafted Jamar Chase. Looking back, I still say that they probably should have done more with the offensive line, through the draft and through free agency. But in terms of the Jamar Chase pick, if they do take Sewell, I don't think the Bengals get here, because Jamar Chase has been that connection between Burrow and Chase has been the big reason why the Bengals have gotten this far. And I'm not wearing a hat right now, but I tip my cap to you for making that happen, Cincinnati. Now, again, the Bengals offensive line is still not that great. Tennessee Titans, with a defense that really isn't all that special, managed to get 9 sacks against you in the divisional round. But either way, the Bengals they've proven themselves big time this year. They almost beat the fucking Packers earlier in the year in a game that was full of shenanigans with the special teams units. Then you had that game where they lost to the Jets, which was weird. And they probably wish that didn't happen. Tennessee Titans know that feeling. But all in all, the Bengals had a remarkable season, coming off of 2 wins a few years ago to 4 wins last year to now a 10-win division champion season. And then just look at how they've done in the playoffs. They beat the Raiders in a game that, well, there was a little bit of ref ball. I think Raiders fans are probably still a little bit pissed regarding the touchdown that maybe shouldn't have been because the ref blew his whistle, probably thinking that Burrow stepped out of bounds before he threw the football, which he did not. And that was a ref moment that shouldn't have happened. Let the play continue. But because all touchdowns are all scoring plays are reviewed anyway, so you had no reason to blow the whistle. But more importantly, if that touchdown didn't stand, that would have changed the entire game, and the Raiders possibly could have won. So there's that to think about a little bit. But either way, the Bengals did play a really good game, and their defense came out clutch at the very end. Then you go against the Titans again. You gave up 9 sacks, yet somehow won the game because Tannehill played piss poor, and Derrick Henry's return from injury wasn't as glorious as people maybe thought it would be. And then you go up against the Chiefs, the team that you had to come back and beat back in the regular season to win the AFC North. You did it again. The Chiefs didn't learn, and they let you back in the game, and you won. So now the Bengals are in the Super Bowl for the third time in their team's history. The first time since the 80s when they lost to the 49ers both times. And I wish the 49ers would have gotten here instead of the Rams so we could have had that rematch. Would have been even better if Jimmy G had to go through Tom Brady in the NFC Championship game to get here, but I digress. And speaking of the Rams, this is the NFL's equivalent of a super team. They're going all in. They've given up so many draft picks, specifically first rounders, so that they don't have one, I think, till 2024, or whatever, which is like only technically 2 years away, but it feels like an eternity. But it's now or never for the Rams. They made it here a couple of years ago and got beat by the Patriots in what's probably one of the worst. I wouldn't say worst, but because defense is clutch. But from a viewing experience, probably one of the worst Super Bowls in recent memory, maybe of all time. But for a guy like Aaron Donald, it really is now or never, because with everything the Rams have done, there's no guarantee that they're going to get back here. So this might be Aaron Donald's one chance to get a Super Bowl ring, and this is his second attempt at it. If he doesn't get one, he might go down as one of the greatest players to never win a Super Bowl ring. And look at the rest of this team. Stafford, Ramsey, OBJ. They brought Weddle out of fucking retirement to join the defensive backs group. And he's played his entire career with the Chargers. He played for a bit with the Ravens. Never won a ring. For a lot of these guys, this might be their one chance at a ring. Now, yes, a lot of them are young. Guys like Cooper Kupp, Ramsey. And I don't think Darnold's hit 30 yet, if I'm not mistaken, and some others. But that's the thing. You can never be too sure about getting back here. Granted, with Brady out of the league and Rodgers possibly either leaving or going to another team, leaving as in retirement, it does open things up in the NFC a bit more. But even still, with the cap and with the lack of draft picks that the Rams have, who knows where they're going to be in a couple of years. So if you're the Rams, you're looking at the Bengals and saying, this is our best shot. We need to win now. I mean, come on. The Brooklyn Nets couldn't fucking get it done with KD, Kyrie, and Harden. And that trio's already done. And that's a trio that should have won several rings. And they're already done after a year and a half. And that trio only playing 16 games together. Yes, it's the NBA, but you get my point. But, yeah, for the Rams, at this point in time, it's now or never. At least that's what it looks like right now. For the Bengals, they could probably get back here within, over the next few years. Granted, they have to run a gauntlet of a conference that's got Mahomes, Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence, if the Jaguars can get their shit together, Justin Herbert. They've got so many amazing young quarterbacks in the AFC that every single one of them, that for most of them, they're going to have a shot at a Super Bowl, and they're going to have to go through each other to get there. The AFC is going to be a bloodbath for the next several years. It's pretty much a repeat of the last couple of decades with Brady, Roethlisberger, Rivers, Manning, and so on and so forth, but younger and probably better. So either way, when you look at both of these teams, this is probably the best shot that both of these teams have because for the Bengals, they go into the offseason with a bunch of cap flexibility and they can add to that team and potentially get back here. Especially considering that the Steelers are going to finally be going into a rebuild. We don't know how the Ravens are going to do, and the Browns, well, they're the Browns. But again, like I said, Mahomes, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert. I mean, the AFC is going to be nuts for the next decade plus. This, I don't want to see Burrow end up like Dan Marino, where he makes it to a Super Bowl early in his career, loses, and never gets back here. So if I'm Joe Burrow, get your ring now, because there's no guarantee you're going to make it back here either. So get your ring now while you have a chance. Because we might be seeing Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl for a bunch of the next decade. Josh Allen, hopefully, and so on and so forth. With all that said, though, the way I see this game playing out is for the Rams, Stafford has to play mistake-free football. He cannot throw an interception, and the defense has to show up, which is probably going to happen. But Stafford cannot throw an interception. Look back at the last couple of games he's played. Specifically, the end of the regular season, or the back half of the regular season, and the playoffs. I would argue his best game over the last several games was the wild card round against the Cardinals, where they completely kicked the shit out of Arizona. The Bucks game, they almost blew that thing completely. They almost became the new 27-3 was almost the new 28-3, and Falcons fans would have been happy about that, but unfortunately, did not happen. And then against the 49ers, they should have blown them out. But they almost lost and had Jaquiski Tartt catch that interception in the fourth quarter. Jaquiski Tartt, what happened to your hands? The Rams possibly could have lost that game as well. So, I'm not as sold on them as a lot of other people are of possibly winning, maybe even blowing the Bengals out. I don't even see a blowout happening. For the Bengals, the offensive line has to go God mode and make sure that Burrow does not get sacked. You cannot even give up one sack to this Rams defense. If you give up one, they're gonna be hungry for more. If they give up multiple sacks, it's game over. It is game over for the Bengals. The other thing that I believe the Bengals need to do, and probably keep this more towards the second half and maybe the back half of the second quarter, but when you have the ball, try to run some long, sustained drives. Make sure you score at the end, especially a touchdown, but even a field goal is good enough. Do it enough to tire the Rams defense out and keep your defense fresh. Because, there's a good shot that Stafford will throw deep balls down to Cooper Kupp and they could run some quick drives, get scores, and then it goes back to their defense anyway. But if you tire the Rams defense out, and then your defense comes up clutch and forces a 3-and-out or a short drive for the Rams, and then the Rams defense has to go back out there, then it's going to make things a little bit easier for you because they're going to be that much more tired. And it keeps your defense fresh as well, which is a big, big thing. So for the Rams, mistake-free football. For the Bengals, offensive line needs to protect Burrow as much as possible and do not give up a sack. And the offense needs to run long, sustained drives at points in time to tire the Rams defense out. But in terms of the game itself, what do I think will actually happen? Well, I'm going to say that the Bengals win the coin toss, but they defer to the second half. And if they do win the coin toss, they should do that. Just saying. I think going into halftime, the Rams will only be up by 3. It'll be like 20-17 or something like that. We go into the second half. Bengals get the ball first. They run one of those aforementioned long sustained drives, get the ball to Joe Mixon as much as possible. Throw the ball, short at points in time to Higgins and Chase and whatnot. Get your first downs. Maybe take a deep shot or two. But run a drive that runs close to halfway through the third quarter and get a touchdown out of it. And they do. Putting the Bengals up 24-20. Rams get the ball and maybe they get one first down and then they end up having to punt. And the Bengals get the ball back, with maybe a few minutes left to go in the third. They run it downfield, are forced to take a field goal, 27-20. Rams get the ball back just before the end of the third quarter. So we go into the fourth quarter, Bengals up 27-20. And for most of the fourth quarter, it's a stalemate. Neither team can really score. And then we get to about midway through the fourth. Rams have the ball. And midway through the fourth quarter, the Rams get a touchdown. Probably Stafford to Cooper Kupp for like 20, 25 yards. Maybe he burns Eli Apple, something like that. Tie game, 27-20. This is where things get really interesting. So the Bengals get the ball back. They try to go downfield. They're forced to punt. Bengals defense gets a quick 3 and out. The Bengals get the ball back again. But they end up going 3 and out. Excuse me. And they go Bengals get the ball back after the Rams score, and they end up driving, but end up having to punt. And they end up having to punt with about 3 to 4 minutes left in the fourth. Now, because the game is tied, the Rams have to drive downfield to get another score, and that could take up the rest of the fourth quarter. But that means Stafford has to throw the ball for the most part. And I'm going to say just ahead of the 2-minute warning, probably within around the 2:30 mark, Stafford throws a pass that gets tipped or just straight up intercepted, probably by, say, Von Bell. Bengals get the ball just before the 2-minute warning, and they have at least 2 of their 3 timeouts left. Rams probably have 2 or all 3 of theirs. So the remainder of the fourth quarter is the Bengals moving the ball downfield methodically, running the ball a good bit, timeouts aplenty, 2-minute warning as well. The Bengals get the ball downfield, and Evan McPherson hits a 47-yard game-winning field goal. Bengals win 30-27. That's my prediction. Hope y'all enjoyed, and I'll catch y'all next time. Let's see how this game goes. Peace.